You call him the child? Did you call the child?
Did you hear that? That woman says, "What the F are you talking about?" Right? Just totally playing dumb. What the F are you talking about, huh? What the F are you talking about? Now, the Chaplinsky decision says if you call somebody a fascist or a racketeer, well, that's fighting words. What the F are you talking about? This is so embarrassing. This is in Rochester, Minnesota.
Call the word? It is my own business.
And then it's none of your effing business. What the F are you talking about, right? Plays dumb. And then, it's none of your effing business. And now, look at this. She feels real bad. Lots of remorse, right? Lots of remorse.
You call him?
And then middle finger, right? Go fuck yourself, you fucking piece of shit. Nah, this is hate-filled fucking culture here. I get to say fighting words after fighting words after fighting words to you. You ain't crap. And then if there's any wonder, if this person said the N-word to a kid, well, let's see if she's, there's some, good Caucasians out here that would never say that word. I'm one of those good Caucasians. The only way I would say it is to a white supremacist. Because James Baldwin had said he knows that he wasn't the N-word. You're the N-word, baby.
Okay, why don't you have the boss to say it right now again? Okay.
Did you see it? Not only did she say it once and said it twice, and then did you see her face? Did you see her face? She was so proud of herself. Look at her.
Say it right now again. Okay.
You see that? Now that's a good face of a demon, right? We got a nice picture of a demon right there. And then if someone says, "Oh, she's just with her kid," we don't even know the accusation. Matt Walsh is going to go on and say, "Well, we don't know this and we don't know that." Yeah, you're right. We don't have any film of the damn incident. So did the kid? Did he take something? Was he just over by the diaper bag? We don't know. We don't know. We know that when she's cornered, right, she was lying to begin with, and then, then she just starts attacking the other person, and then she dropped the N-word. So she is a white supremacist. She very much loves saying the N-word. This is like her forte. This is what she loves to do. So it makes me wonder if the 5-year-old kid took something, was just by the diaper bag. Why is she, losing her, her shit over any of this stuff? Why is she losing her shit? And then she's doubling down, right? When you have a wicked person, an evil person, and they done evil, well, either A, they could just, fess up, admit to their mistake, and then try to resolve it. Okay, yeah, I was real mad. I shouldn't have said, the N-word. Because here's another thing. If somebody's a criminal, if somebody's a shithead, if somebody is, just a lowlife, well, you could call them, a vole, lowlife, criminal. You can call them a shithead. But the moment you say that, you're a B or you're an N, what you're doing is you're letting that criminal make a sexist or a racist out of you. So that nullifies it. That nullifies it. Oh, did he take something and therefore then you just said something to get under his skin? Or are you a white supremacist and he was actually standing up against white supremacy?
All right, that's what you say.
We don't actually know for sure that the boy is 5 years old. That's coming from the man filming, who is apparently not related to the child. In the video, we appear to get a glimpse of the kid, and from the glimpse anyway, he definitely looks older than 5.
Okay, so they're going to go on and explain their own perspective, right?
Excuse me. Play you for those ultras?
Pretty pissed off about TYT, so don't really like that I'm,
I think that if you can't defend yourself as a nation, or if you can't survive without being propped up by another government, say ours, then you shouldn't exist as a country.
So what he just said there, and I think he's talking about Ukraine, right? So Ukraine, they had to take a lot of money and a lot of weapons from America in order to defend themselves, their independence, their sovereignty, their nation. And what he is sitting there saying, in fact, that's how America, we needed France to help us with our revolution. But he's saying that if a country cannot support itself without another nation, then that country shouldn't even exist. And then Tucker Carlson, he says, well, what about Israel?
That's just the way of the world. So
Wait. If you can't exist without being propped up by another government, say ours, you shouldn't exist.
Yeah.
Israel cannot exist without being propped up by the United States.
You think so?
Its nuclear program came from the United States. Its weapons come from the United States. Its economy is supported by the United States.
Yeah. And he didn't have much of a response there. Now, Matt Walsh, he did say something about racism a long time ago, and I don't know if I'll be able to pull it back up, but he had said something regarding, so the Shiloh Hendrix case marks a turning point. Shiloh Hendrix, okay, so good old Shiloh Hendrix, writer racist, Matt Walsh's Am I Racist, the game, okay, so this is some sort of thing, am I being a racist or am I not being a racist? Well, he said the N-word, you know, that's pretty racist right there. He's the the thing I was trying to find was where he was talking about, God, it's so infuriating watching Shiloh Hendrix, that's this person's name. Holy shit. Let's see, here's a soy pill. Matt Walsh is racist. So let's actually take a look at some of this.
Soy pill. Recently, you may have gotten an ad for Matt Walsh's dumb movie. No, not that one. No, not that one. No, that's from the other Matt Walsh. That's the one. Am I Racist? And it's not a Daily Wire exclusive. Quarantined off for the good of the population on the Daily Wire Plus.
Okay, so just to take a break in this, Matt Walsh once said, you know, I didn't grow up around racists. There was no racists around me. I don't even know why they're talking about racism. Because it still fucking exists. It permeates through the damn culture. Why do we have a genocide going on in Gaza right now? Because white America, white supremacist America, don't give a fuck about brown kids. They don't give a fuck about brown kids when it came to the Iraq War, 1 million dead. They don't give a fuck about brown kids in Gaza, 400,000 dead. They don't give a fuck. And so this is so embarrassing that this Shiloh Hendrix, this fucking Shiloh Hendrix is going to be such a racist, bigoted piece of shit. When I think about what the revolution was, you know, fought about, how we barely won the revolution, barely got a constitution, barely got a Bill of Rights. So the fact that they're trying to say free fucking speech, right? It's fucking hate speech. This is nothing I believe in. This is nothing I believe in. This is fighting words. So even though we got free speech, there's exceptions to free speech. You can't go around threatening people. And then Chaplinsky says you can't issue fighting words. She issued fighting words on top of fighting words on top of fighting words. And then, oh yeah, she's just a mother going to the park and this bad thing happened. No, she's going to be raising a bunch of other white supremacists. So she's going to continue to create more white supremacists. Fucking asshole. Look at all them tattoos. What, I'm supposed to pretend that she's Mary Poppins? Shiloh Hendrix is no fucking Mary Poppins. She is not good. She's not a singer. She's not a dancer. She's not an entertainer. She isn't like one of those women that are like too pitiful or pathetic that they just go along to get along, and you know, even if they find a bad man, then they go along with the bad man. No, she very much, not only does she looks like she takes care of herself, but I bet you she bullies other fucking people, probably men, probably bullies her own damn husband. And what is she, about 100 pounds? So she isn't bullying men because, you know, she's a tough guy. She isn't bullying men because she's strong and that she's going to enforce her own sovereignty. So to go back with that whole Israel, you know, thing, if you can't even defend yourself.
Plus, it played in actual real-life theaters for real-life people. It was the highest-grossing documentary of 2024, edging out blockbuster hits like Jesus Thirsts and Pat Video Fest 2024. Apolitical reviewers like Jeremy Johns said they liked it.
Had myself a good time and some good laughs.
The world's largest egg said it was very funny.
Your movie is really funny.
And after seeing one too many ads, I had to check it out. It's time to sit my white down and listen. Despite the implications of the title, no, this movie is not a soul-searching adventure where Matt Walsh begins to question his conservative beliefs and whether they give him biases against certain peoples. Instead, it's a Borat-style mockumentary film where Matt Walsh goes undercover and exposes the DEI industry as a ridiculous and dangerous ideology. And you know what? I don't hate this concept. What? Sure, I'm going into this with a bias as an anti-Daily Wire libtard, but there are aspects of the DEI industry that are worth criticism. Now, before you chew me out for being racist, let me explain the difference between DEI in the literal sense and DEI as it's meant in the DEI industry. DEI stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. What's wrong with that? Well, in principle, nothing. Diversity means a diverse or variety of... Anyway, problem...
So, I don't know what this soy pill is even talking about, but it says Matt Walsh is racist.
One,
so
the framing, aka I'm just a guy asking questions. Remember that this film was marketed in mainstream theaters, where people don't know who Matt Walsh is, which means Matt has to approach this not as inherently critical of the DEI system, but as just a normal guy asking questions.
Coffee?
Yes, thank you.
How do you take it?
Black. That was awkward. Should I not have said black? That's how I like my coffee. Wait, am I racist? What is racism?
And this may be the only framing in the movie that actually works. Because yes, if you approach this as a normal person, you'll see that the DEI industry can be kind of ridiculous. The problem is that Matt Walsh is not a normal person. He's an obnoxiously smug, conservative pundit from a collection of failed screenwriters and actors who's going into this film with an agenda. An agenda that I think actually hurts his messaging. Part of the problem is that Matt doesn't actually understand the people he's trying to expose. The easy part to show is that they say crazy stuff and charge a bunch of money for their dumb workshops and interviews. But a literal monkey could expose this surface level silliness. And yeah, Matt accomplishes this by owning a camera and meeting these people. But that's about as deep as he gets. To display just how dumb Matt is, we have to skip to the end of the movie, where the lesson he learns was actually the thing that he thought the whole time.
The anti-racist industry says that America is racist down to its bones. And if that were true, there wouldn't be anything we could do about it. White people could only wallow in their guilt, and black people in their victimhood.
Except that's not what any of these people, no matter how crazy, propose. They think the system is racist.
Okay. Alright, so Matt Walsh, he says he didn't grow up around racist, and yet he became one, right? You're gonna defend a fucking Caucasian woman just saying the N-word to a fight, and then she's going to raise like nearly $1 million. What this reminds me of is Trayvon Martin. You know, Trayvon Martin gets killed by George Zimmerman. George Zimmerman is on fucking trial. The motherfucker makes millions of dollars. So when it comes to a GoFundMe, who's putting all this money into this GoFundMe? They just shut down a GoFundMe for, was it Rodney Hitton? Rodney Hitton Jr., the guy that, his son got killed by the Cincinnati police, and then he's just driving along one day and then runs over a random, Cincinnati police officer, sort of a, kind of an eye for an eye sort of deal, sort of like you took one of mine, so I'm going to take one of yours kind of thing. And while I don't think that it's justified, all the hoopla around it, I think, is to save him from getting the death penalty. Because, can you understand that if somebody took one of your loved ones, that you would be enraged and pissed off and maybe even temporarily insane? So, he said he didn't grow up around racist, yet he is one. There was this KKK territory that you had, Hassan Piker had pointed out, where Matt Walsh says, okay, if I just tell you that somebody's walking down the street and then somebody gets up and attacks them, and tries to stab them and then robs them, well, you know that it was a black person doing it to a white person. And it's like, well, hold on. That is not what I would presume whatsoever. In fact, the last person that robbed me was a white male and took me for, $2,000. So that was, that's not true. That's not fucking true. And then he wants to say that cancel culture is now dead. Cancel culture is now dead because of this Shiloh, Hendrix, what's that motherfucking asshole, that motherfucker's name? That criminal motherfucker? She's the wicked one. She was the wicked one, okay? And she's sitting there, la 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 la. This is the freedom we're defending. This is why we have a constitution. Does she even know what the preamble is? Can she even fucking quote one single goddamn amendment? Can she quote a single fucking amendment? So the fact that he's propping her up as like being, finally, cancel culture is dead. This is white supremacist fucking culture. And if white supremacy wasn't so prevalent and it wasn't so fucking pervasive, then we wouldn't have to talk about it. Just get rid of racism. Stamp out fucking racism. Judge people on the content of their character, not the color of their skin. This is basic. This is so fucking basic. It's not even funny. Don't want to watch any more of this. Yeah, let's see this.
So I don't want that advantage.
I don't think you necessarily can.
There's also a scene where he pretends to be interested in the anti-racism books at the bookstore and buys them all, and then reads one. But to be honest, I don't even think he read the one Robin DiAngelo book, because if he did, he would have a better understanding of the ideology he's against and how to mock it. But of course, we knew Matt never intended on being open-minded. In his movie, What is a Woman?, he asks a very smart person an open-ended question, and as soon as we get his nuanced and thoughtful response, Matt fast-forwards through it.
We've got gender and sex. What's the difference between the two? Is there a difference?
What I think is often misleading about that characterization is allowed to be sort of messy and complicated. We discrete constructs, studies scholars, and really...
I'll elaborate on his lack of understanding more as we combine this with his poor acting and comedy skill.
It's Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, your DSCC chair, and I need your help immediately.
Skills in Problem 2. Matt Walsh can't act and isn't funny and fails to expose the DEI industry because suss him out extremely quickly. The first workshop starts off with a grounded meditation that allows participants to be fully present in the DEI space.
Typically, I like to open up the space with a brief meditation. Please ground yourself in your seat. Just allow yourself to be fully present in the space.
You couldn't ask for a more perfect, stereotypical liberal moment to just sit back and film. So of course, Matt comes in late, interrupts, and draws attention to himself.
Are we meditating? Okay, sorry.
The circle then gives introductions, including their pronouns, which gives Matt the opportunity to highlight any strange or awkward answers. But somehow, he only shows 2 introductions. The first is this incredibly normal person's incredibly normal answer.
My name is Dan. My pronouns are he, him. I'm feeling excited. The weirdest compliment I think I've ever received. I was in the online dating sphere, and I've gotten the, you look much better in person.
He's happy, endearing, and makes everyone laugh. The second is Matt Walsh, where we get our first taste of just how bad he is at this. He stands up for no reason.
If you want to stand, it's okay.
Has a failed attempt at a pronoun joke.
I'm Steven. Pronouns, I'll have to get back to you on that.
Tries to repeat the language of the people that he finds cringe in a way that suggests he's being sardonic because he resents this ideology and can't help himself.
I'm feeling excited.
I'm feeling excited.
Present.
Just allow yourself to be fully present.
And gives a made-up anecdote that wasn't really funny, and makes this lady almost laugh at him.
The strangest compliment I've ever gotten is I've been complimented on the number of black friends that I have. Sometimes it comes up, but
I really want to emphasize just how bad he's doing right off the bat. Matt can only embody his misguided notions of what a liberal would do, which, as we see in every scene, confuses and differentiates himself from every liberal ever. He's drawn unnecessary attention to himself by acting weird and out of place, but he's supposed to be blending in and getting these people to escalate. If he wanted to make fun of pronouns, he could have said his pronouns were she, her. Given his appearance, some people might be thrown off by that, but because these people are incredibly respectful, as we'll see later, they would have been gendering him as a woman for the rest of the workshop. That's exactly the kind of thing that would have achieved Matt's goal of making your average, non-culture war poisoned viewer see these people as over-the-top and ridiculous. Instead, he accidentally juxtaposes himself next to the most normal, endearing man ever, and makes himself look like a stupid asshole. Keep in mind, Matt has full creative control over all of the editing in this film. Everything you see is what he thinks makes him look the best and everyone else look weird. The workshop leader gives Matt another opportunity to play off of ridiculousness.
If I'm going to be quite frank, when I do this work in these types of circles, I'm not safe.
Now, what she means by this, as Robin DiAngelo talks about in her book, is that when white people get faced with the idea that they may be contributing to racism or have done something to hurt others, they might get uncomfortable, push back, and maybe make her feel uneasy. Not because she's afraid of getting attacked, but because it can be exhausting to explain things to people who are recalcitrant. But her language is pretty extreme. "I feel unsafe in this environment" is the kind of language you use when you're attending a traditional Saudi gun-jumping dance recital.
It got stuck in the branch that it was growing on, and then it also has a line from where it was strung on the plant, but still perfectly edible, just not visually as aesthetic as what we consider perfect produce.
It's misshapen. That's not allowed to go into a box to go to a retail market. There's a lot of food that gets wasted because it doesn't have this perfect appearance. But inevitably, you're going to have produce that doesn't meet that standard. We call those number twos.
This is another example of a number two. Two grew into one, absolutely edible and tasty and delicious.
And so by working with someone like Misfits, we have this beautiful, healthy, organic produce that's absolutely edible that we can package and sell to you guys.
On farms, fruits and vegetables get tossed for so many different reasons. When they have a funny shape, when they're too big or too small, or even when they have just too many to sell. And it's mostly because traditional grocery stores don't want to buy these products. They only want the best looking stuff. And it's not just fresh produce. It's the parts of the salmon that just aren't as popular. It's cooking.
Not when you're in a room full of rich white people paying you money to teach them about racism.
My promise to the black community is to lean into being brave and to love in inconvenient ways.
So what do you do with this? I don't know, play into it. Mention how being in predominantly black spaces makes you feel unsafe, because you're worried that your microaggressions will make them attack you. Matt asks a reasonable question and doesn't try to make a joke, allowing her to elaborate.
Why are you not safe in the circle?
Being an African American in primarily white spaces is not safe for me mentally.
But Matt goes on to immediately undermine this by giving a cringy performative statement where he fake cries and rambles.
Well, I'm here on a journey towards a brighter future. My promise to myself is love, to love myself. I struggle so much with it in my life, to love myself, be better in so many better ways, to better myself, to better the world. And I know that I haven't been better.
He even includes clips of all the people immediately seeing this as weird, out of place, and cringy. He then proceeds to interrupt a bunch of people, preventing us from seeing real cringy answers. And whenever he does this incredibly rude and unfunny interrupting, the circle actually treats him respectfully, as if he's a child causing a nuisance.
I am here with the intention to understand and learn, dig a little bit.
I'm sorry, I forgot one other thing I wanted to promise the black community.
It's really important that we don't interrupt each other during the group.
The promise that I'm making to myself is to be heard, to...
That's what I was going to say. Right.
Please allow her to finish.
Sorry.
He's so lame that even the workshop leader made me laugh more.
I had one other promise to the black. We can circle back around. Are we going to circle back around?
No.
And we see that when Matt just shuts the up, we get some pretty good content from these people.
What do you feel when you hear the term white people?
Cringe about it.
Word.
Cringe? Yeah.
Pick a word, but that's a very good one.
A little anchor. Whiteness as that lie, just oof.
The thing about...
Step out for a moment.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Well, guess not. Matt had to fake cry and excuse himself because he can't hold in all the up things he wants to scream at this woman. And while he's gone, they Google him and find out who he is, because he made it so obvious that he's out of place. And when he comes back, they ask him to leave in the nicest way possible.
I would really appreciate it if you left, so that the people who actually want to be here and deserve to be here can get what they need.
I do want to be
Can
here.
you please leave?
Come with me.
Well,
thank you.
I didn't consent to be touched.
Also, he acts incredulous that they feel actually unsafe knowing who he is.
I just want to know that, like, my physical safety and yours and everybody else's here is okay.
Why would your physical safety not be okay?
implying that his very presence physically intimidates them. But no, Matt, it's because they know you have an army of millions of rabid fans who do stuff like this when they get mad. So Matt did capture a couple cringy lines, but ultimately only succeeded in making himself look like an annoying asshole and having me sympathize with the people he's trying to make look bad. And what did he learn from this? That he needs to shut up and let the weird people talk? That he should learn to act and improvise better and really let them expand on their silly ideas? No, Matt decides he needs a better disguise and puts on a man bun wig.
If I want to be an ally, I need to look like one.
But he already looked like a hipster liberal. You weren't discovered because you look conservative. You were discovered because you're a bad actor and comedian.
Is it because I said I had 17 black friends? It might have been 15. It depends on how you count them.
And the real reason you didn't need a disguise in the first place is because you aren't interesting or famous enough to be recognized by normal people. Also,